Well, hello, all you rednecks. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. And today we are working on the Diana Storm Rider. I'm doing some modifications to it. And it's a really decent gun. I love this gun. I love both of my Diana Storm Riders. They're accurate with a little help with Bison barrel band system on it, bipod, and this one is the stiff one. So as you can see how it flexes there when you're pushing and pulling. Watch the gap in between here. Yeah, that's a lot of unnecessary stress on that. So you want this to be mounted on a better Picatinny rail and tight. Well, really ain't nothing wrong with this Picatinny rail. It's just the way this mounts. I just don't like the way this mounts. It comes in 4 pieces. You take this nut off, and this comes up with it. Once you get them 2 pieces off, then you got a stud that's got a pin that goes to it and threaded with a little straight head screw to hold that thing on the sling stud. So it's a sling stud mount, and I'm not real sure I like it. It's just, to me, it just doesn't feel like a good design. But anyway, it's got the stiff bipod on it, so I use it as little as possible. And then I put the barrel band on it, and made a new sleeve for behind the suppressor. So I like to frog hunt at night. I like to snipe them, and it's nice to have a light up here. So I've got this light. Beware, bright. I wanted to mount that right there, but I wanted as close to the barrel as I possibly could. So I designed this piece right here. Now this was on the one printer that's been giving me a fit lately. It won't print right no matter what, and it's pissing me off. But you hear that? That means that layers didn't get adhered on that particular printer and that particular filament. We won't go into that. But, you know, it's got its issues. And it's not bad issues. This is still a usable clamp. I just got to do a lot of work filing, because where it put a support where it wasn't supposed to put a support. So it was only on the last layer or 2. So it needed to be adjusted that much anyway. So it actually was a win-win situation. It just created a lot of work for me to have to file across this and get rid of all them, chamfer them edges to make this a decent looking mount. But it was a terrible mount or print. So I went to a different printer with Creality filament, and I printed these bad boys. This is the difference. It's really rough right here. I mean, rough as corn cob pipe. And you hear that? I got a lot of work getting them edges off. All it is just on the edges. It's flared and didn't adhere very good. But anyway, it was a sucky, a lot of layer lines in it. This one turned out really nice. Even though it did leave some roughness here, it actually left it in a uniform fashion so that it looked like it was meant to be done that way. So it just kind of looks like an odd checkering. So I think it's pretty cool. It looks like odd checkering that's consistent throughout. So, you know, leaving that and not sanding that was actually did you a favor, because now it looks like it's textured on the tops and real shiny on the bottom. And this turned out to be a really nice print. So then, and I just had my tools here ready for this job, and guess what? I then went and put them away somewhere. Away from me. Where'd I put those? Let me put this gun away. So it was really rough on the inside also. I mean, badly rough. I've done filed on that and filed on it, and it still looks rough. So, and this stuff's hard on files. You wouldn't think so, but it is. It's just plastic, but it dulls a lot of my freaking taps. But I put the longer screws in mine simply because I want that whole, this is 6mm thick right here. 6 or 8mm thick. So I want the threads to be all the threads used. So, you know, I put this screw in there and then it comes out that far. It doesn't matter to me because my light, that screw or the adjuster screw lands right in between them. So it's fine for me. But I am going to order some shorter 1024 screws. But that's what it's going to look like. So I don't know how many of these I can make, but this is a very, very limited edition, if I even do it for anybody else. I don't know. I'm getting kind of lazy, man. But I'll show you the features we got here with this in detail. That's the downfall of these screws being so long. Now I have a set of shorter screws, but they're a little too short. They only take up half of the plastic, so it really only takes up 2 threads, 2 full threads. So I want more threads than that. There's about 8 threads in there. So I want to use all 8 of them. So anyway, I just got to shorten my screws. And so, well, I took apart the wrong one. I ain't got the sticker on the inside of that one yet. I forgot to do that. I'll take this apart and we'll be back. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is a clamp. Top and a bottom. 4 screws. 1 Allen wrench. A flashlight. And a partridge and a pear tree. So, simple as figuring out where you want to put it. So, we know that it's going to be centered. And then we get to position it. Now, you got to keep 2 things in mind. How easy it is to push the button, where you have this adjusted on the light itself, because the clamp clamps onto the light and you can slide it backwards and forwards. I've got it fully extended back. I could adjust that further, or maybe even in this area right here. But it always works in my favor when it's in the rear, because now I know that I can take the edge of this and put it right at the edge of that, and that puts my light just about where I want it. So now that we've figured out where we want it, it's as simple as putting screws in it. Screw the thing. We're going to screw it. Screw the hell out of that thing. We're going to get something here in a minute to help us screw this thing. Alright, so now we get these. This is the only downfall to having longer screws, but I'm okay with it. Alright, now you're at the point where you ain't got to hold it. So we don't want to tighten it too tight. Something's wrong with this one. I'm wondering if that's what it was. It was at a bind. Because if it don't go easy, don't force it. If it don't go easy, see how easy I'm turning that? And we just want to bring it down to where you have the same gap, exactly the same way you would your scope. In fact, all this is just an oversized scope mount. You probably could use this for a scope. A small one. It wouldn't be long enough anyway. So now we want to kind of eyeball it, and that's all I'm going to do, just to get it straight. And make sure we find a place where we're comfortable with. And we get her centered. And it don't matter about the flashlight, I can change that. So now we're going to take and just kind of eyeball the sides of it and see how much squeeze we're getting here, how much squeeze we're getting on this side. And you want to keep them even as it's tightening down. So now we'll come over here to the other ones and just tighten them to where they're about as tight as the other ones are. Alright, and then we're going to check it. It's pretty tight. So now we're just going to give it about a half a turn more. Well, turn the quarter. Quarter on this side, we'll just even that back up by taking a 1/16 off of this one. Making even pressure. There we go. 1/16 of an inch taken off of this side. So now we've got a pretty decent looking mount, and I'll show you. I've already done this before, that's why I looked like I was professional. I'll show you my other one. Bam! See how fast that was? So this is my other one, and I just put the light there and the Bison mount and run the wire back in between here, and this adapter I made is just big enough to cause a squeeze for this line, the wire, and go in behind there, and I can get my fill probe in there just comfortably. So then I just ran it down this side over here, and run the line back. Zip tied it there, zip tied it there, zip tied it there, and run it to a palm pressure switch or finger pressure switch, however you want to look at it. So there you have the twins. This is the Bison twins. these are really, really, really good guns. I like these Diana Storm Riders, and I don't see how anybody can have anything bad to say about them. They're pretty nice gun. Once you put a barrel band on it, this thing shoots pretty good. Uh, yeah, every once in a while I'll bump the barrel and move it, and then I gotta recite the damn thing in. So there you have the Diana Storm Rider, sporting a bipod. Now this one's a different kind of mount. This one actually has two levers in there that when you loosen this, it separates this body from the pick rail. And the further you go out, the wider you can squeeze this. When you squeeze this, the wider them two pins goes in and goes into a hole, sort of like that, into your sling stud. And as you draw it up, it pinches it so it can't be pulled back out. And it's better. It's a better design, but they need to figure out a better way to solder those pins into the metal, because I got one that if I ain't careful, I'm gonna lose that pin, and it's so tiny. It ain't great. It's crazy. So there you have the new item I made for my gun. I'm gonna call that the 25 millimeter clamp, pick mount clamp, something like that, for flashlights and lasers. No, already, before you even say it. No, you cannot put your bipod on it. You put your bipod on it, you might as well put it in your withstanding order now, because they will break. They are not designed, nor do you want that pressure on your suppressor or your barrel. So, no bipods. That's too much twisting. Put that bipod where it's supposed to be, guys. Stop being lazy. So, anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys have a good one. Later.